Rosie, you should just go home now because there's no way your slider will even come close to my beef taco. I have a beautiful piece of flank here and you have a portobello mushroom. Just the two just don't correlate. I don't know. Oh, we'll see about that. But what I'm going to do is start with my beef flank here. And what I'm going to do is give it some Texan spices. You thought it was great like this. I'm going to take it that extra little bit further. So some Texan spices, easy to make. A little bit of cumin that's been toasted, some white pepper, some chili, some cayenne chili, and some smoked paprika. Those spices together.
Some of my favourite spices there.
Make it delicious. I'll pass that off to you there. Now, what I've got is some flank steak here. Grass-fed Australian beef, which is where you start with. You start with good grass-fed beef and you can't lose. That's what I always say. Now, what I'm going to do is cut the flank up into some smaller pieces and I'll just stir that around. We want to get these spices all sort of mixed in together there like that.
Tex-Mexy flavour, isn't it?
It is. And what I'm going to do is a little sort of dry rub on the outside. You could put some olive oil in there if you want. That'll loosen it up, but I'm going to griddle it so I don't want to have too much oil into it. Now, what I will add is some salt because salt loves meat, meat loves salt. You have to have the two together. There's already pepper in here. We just need to make sure there's plenty of salt on here to make sure that when this meat is sliced and put into a taco and you take a bite of it, there's no doubt to which taco or which snack is going to be supreme. You like that, don't you?
Yes, I do. I like that very much.
Throwing down the gauntlet. Now, I've got the meat here, and what I'm going to do is grab the middle piece here and just give it a bit of a rub. Can you smell those spices? They
sure
smell
can.
great. Could you imagine those spices on a portobello mushroom?
Sure could, yeah.
Maybe, but that wouldn't be anywhere near as good as on a piece of flank steak. Smell it like that. It's really strong.
Spices are delish.
I will recommend people, if they are smelling their spice mix like this, be careful because there's a lot of pepper in it and you'll do that sort of sneeze, which is what you don't want. Now, my griddle pan is nice and hot here. What I'm going to do is pop this into the griddle pan. I'll drizzle a little bit of olive oil onto the outside. I'll pop another piece in next to it. And what we'll do is we'll turn it a couple of times to make sure it cooks nice and gently, and then we'll let it rest. But we've got to make a salsa to go with it because that is one of the most important things in making a taco is the salsa. What goes with it. Now, Rosie, have a look at this steak. It's just grilling up nicely.
Colour's good.
Beautiful. Now, while that's simmering away, we're going to turn it a few more times so that the juices stay in there. We want to seal it, but to really push it over the line, we're going to make the salsa. So to start with, I've got some coriander, which I'm going to finely chop, and you've got some spring onion. Yep. And you're going to chop that nice and fine as well. And I've got some red chilli because we want to have a lot of chilli with it. Now, this is the point you might want to open the windows, open the front door, open the back door, and get some serious ventilation into your house. But I'm loving this. I love those flavours. It's like gasping for air, isn't it?
We really deserve our food. We survived.
There you go. It's fine. Now, I've got some tomato here. These are the oxheart tomatoes. They've got a lot of flesh in there. So what I'm going to do is chop them up so they're nice and chunky. Now, you can cut them in half and squeeze the seeds out of them. That's the juicy part. I want to make sure that the seeds and those juices are in my salsa. Now, these tomatoes are available from most grocery stores, but, you know, if you've got Roma tomatoes, or even better, are tomatoes from your own garden. Now, I've got some red chilies here, and I'm just going to rough chop these with the seeds in it. We want to have this red hot. We want this to pop the top of your head off. It's going to be so full of chili. There we go. And I've also got some radish here. What I'm going to do with the radish is slice it nice and thin. The thing I like about the radish is the colour, but also has that little bit of bite as well. So what I'll do is I'll chop that nice and
lovely
fine
idea.
All the way through here. Now, you'll see the chipotle chili. Grab that in a little bowl there. That's a preserved chili that's got a little bit of smoke in there. I want you to throw the whole lot in there as well with the radish.
The whole lot?
The whole lot in there.
Are you certain?
Let's just go all out here. Let's just go crazy and throw the whole lot in there. You know you're not going to win. You know this salsa here alone, and
You're certainly going for it.
I want you to taste this salsa, and the lime over there, if you can cut that in half as well and squeeze that into the salsa. And I love lime, but if you don't have limes, you could always use some lemon, but the lime is always so good. In goes the onion, and of course we need to season it up with a generous amount of salt in there, some pepper in there as well, and I'm going to put a good drizzle of olive oil. And while I'm doing that, I'll turn over the steak here. Look at that. That's looking real good. Turn that over like that. Now I'm going to get you to stir that around.
Certainly.
We want to have the salsa tasting really good. So by stirring it around, let it sit there for 5-6 minutes until this is ready and rested. I've got my tacos already warmed up in the oven. I'll put them together and I'll show you why my beef taco is the best. Salsa in there and some sour cream, and I want you to just take your time to feel the loss that you're feeling and enjoy that salsa because it's so important.
I'm already having a fiesta in my nasal passage.
There we go.
So yes, let's have a little go.
Now, what you want to do is have a look over here at this beautiful juicy beef, Australian grass-fed beef, the best in the world. And when you put it in a taco like I'm about to do, you'll have to agree that there's nothing better. The smell from that dry rub is in there. A little bit of the salsa goes on. Is that salsa good?
It's really good.
It's really.
I like chili. It makes me feel alive, makes me feel good. And there is certainly some in that. Sour cream, though, nicely mellows it out. What I really want to know is how is this
it's
that
how
you're
the beef
raving on
tastes.
about?
Let me have a little bite of that.
It's delicious.
That beef is so tender.
And the great thing is this is made for standing up, made for enjoying, walking around.
The only way to eat a taco is to stand up like this, turn your head on its side and take a big chunk out of it. I can tell that meat is beautiful. It's nice and tender, delicious. The meat tastes good on its own, but with those spices, it tastes even better. I'll tell you what, that salsa is a little bit hotter than I thought, but I love it.
Oh, me too.
Now, what are you going to do? Some sort of slider or something?